questions in the chat. We will be thinking of kind of real life applications to what Jim is talking about, and sometimes we might throw those in as he goes, but we will certainly field all your questions and pose them to Jim when it's appropriate time. So Jim Barnes, take it away, please. Thank you,
everyone.
Jim.
Hi there.
Yes, my pleasure. Hello, everyone. Many of you probably know me a little bit by now. So today I'm going to, like I said, take you through our, what we call our audio-visual tools collection. This is a pretty new collection for us. We introduced it about a year ago. We have our Sound and Vision studio here at the library that is very cool. It's probably one of the leading audio-visual library studios in the country. But that had to be closed during COVID, so we introduced some of the same tools that you can use in the studio, but for checkout. So you can check them out and use them at home. And for some of these tools, it's a really great fit because you can digitize a VCR tape, for instance, and it might take several hours. So it's really nice to do that at home rather than having to do that at the library. But now actually our studio is partially open. So you can do some of this that I'm about to talk about. You can either choose to check these items out and take them home, or you can make an appointment and do it here at the library and we can help you. So I'll kind of talk about which of these tools is at the library and which you can check out. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a little slideshow. We'll just kind of go through everything and explain the details, and everyone can ask questions. One moment. Can everyone see that? Does everyone see that LPL audio visual tools? Okay, great. So yeah, so like I said, actually, can you see this tab of the library's website?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is the library's website. So we'll start here, lplks.org. And where this collection can be found is under the Browse and Borrow tab here in the top middle. So we click on that tab, and it's really right at the top, Audio Visual Tools under Borrow. So you click there, and this is the list of all the tools. The tools, the devices, whatever you want to call them, we call them tools. So there's our actual AV devices for checkout. And we can kind of bounce back and forth between the slideshow and this website. I'm going to go back to the slideshow. Yeah, this collection, you can preserve your memories and make new ones. You can digitize VHS and audio cassettes, scan film slides, or record audio and video. This modern collection gives you the tools to capture what's important to you. You can find it under the Browse and Borrow tab. And right now, this collection is, it's kind of, some of these are bigger items and they're kind of awkward to put on the shelf. And we may be changing this in the future, but during COVID, we didn't really have a great place for them. So they're by hold only. So the way you check them out is you go to the website and you place a hold on the item. And when it's available, you'll get an email and then you'll pick it up off of the hold shelf, just like a book. So even if the item is in the building and we have it available, it'll still take like one more day. You'll just place a hold on it and come pick it up maybe the next day. But when you get that notification email. It's a little bit different setup than other checkouts. So the first thing I'll talk about that's really popular is our VHS digitization kits. We have 4 of these right now, I think. We have 2 VHS digitization kits that include a VCR and 2 that don't. So the way these kits work is the ones that include a VCR, you get it's like a big briefcase, and inside it is a VCR and this adapter that's shown here on the screen. And you use this adapter to plug the VCR into your own home computer through the USB. So this is for if you have your own home computer. So the first one is if you have a computer but don't have a VCR. And then the other one, the other 2 kits that are just the adapter only are for if you have your own computer and your own VCR. And you don't need to borrow a VCR from the library. So kind of whichever way you need to do it. And once you plug it into your computer, it uses a really easy to use software called Elgato Video Capture. And I won't really go into all that, but there's a custom user guide that I've made just for the library. So you're not stuck like looking at the manufacturer's website and the actual manuals that are like really kind of tedious. I tried to just make like a 2 or 3 page simple user guide, like step 1, plug it in. Step 2, download the software from here. Step 3, press record and press play on the VCR, that kind of thing, to make it as easy as possible. So yeah, so the Elgato software is kind of my favorite that we use here at the library because it's the easiest. Just got a big red button, so you press play on the VCR, and your VHS tape starts playing, and then it plays into the computer in real time. So you press the record button on the computer, and you wait. So it could be a 6-hour tape, and you just wait for 6 hours, and it makes a long movie file. These make an MP4 file, and then you can save that to your computer or a flash drive or whatever. And so this is available for checkout, and we also have this available in our Sound and Vision studio. So if you don't have your own computer, or you don't have a VCR, you don't have any clue how to get started, you could also make an appointment and do it here at the library, and we could give you a hand.
Jim, our first question is pertinent to what you're talking about right now. Does it matter what kind of operating system they have at home? The question is, do these VCR kits need to be used on a Windows 10 system, or will they also work on a Windows 7?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I can look that up real quick and see if it has the minimum system requirements. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what the software looks like. It's pretty straightforward. It's just like, this gives you an idea. You label your video here. And then you select your input type, and then you check your audio, and then you press record down here. And then you have an opportunity when it gets done to trim your file, and then you click continue, and it makes a file in your computer. And that's really it. Let me check and see if it has.
Sorry, I have a question about the trim feature.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of us have, at least I do, and who knows whether these tapes are still any good. I think that's the other thing we should mention is sometimes you go back into the box and your VCR, your cassette tapes are not good anymore. That's one of the cautionary tales, I think, to mention. But also, if you have, say, like a 3-hour school concert, high school band concert, must you record the whole 3 hours and before you go back and trim, like just the parts with your kids in it? Or can you somehow just use the time code to record only small segments of a tape?
Yeah, you can. There's 2 ways you could do it. You could. It's just recording into your computer in real time. So you could leave your video capture software recording. I mean, you could fast forward your tape and find where you want, and then press play, and then press record, and just record just that portion. Or you could press play and record and like leave the house, and it would just come, and it like you can set like a maximum time, I think, and then you could come back and just kind of scroll through that's what's cool about once it's in digital format, you can scroll through the entire file really quickly without having to fast forward. So yeah, you could do it two ways. You could find where you want on the VHS tape, record a portion, then fast forward to another portion, record it, and make lots of little short files. Or you could just make one big long file while you're cooking or something, and then just come back and you can quickly find where you want to keep. And you could use other software to trim the video too, like very simple software like QuickTime for Mac or Windows Media Player, things like that.
Okay. And we also have a request. Is it possible for you to maximize your screen so that people can see it a little larger?
And read it, yeah.
Yeah.
The Elgato only trims the front and the back of the recording.
Yeah, it's just very simple. It doesn't it's not like a video editor. It will just trim the beginning and end. So mostly it's just trimming off like the static at the beginning and like a blue screen at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. It says Windows 7 or later.
Great.
Yeah, so I can't say I've used it personally with Windows 7, but that's what it says right here. So I think there's a good chance that it'll work. It's a pretty simple software, so it doesn't need a really nice computer to run. It's not using a lot of, it's not like an intensive program that needs a nice computer to run.
Great, thank you.
Sure. And so to give you a visual of these two kits, this is the kit. I'll make this a little bigger. This is the kit that comes with the VCR. So you get a VCR and this adapter and then the cable to plug into the adapter and the manual. And then this is the kit with just the adapters if you have your own VCR.
Oh, here's an interesting question that's probably common for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Does the device allow you to see what is on an unknown VHS tape before transferring? That's a classic problem.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to go back to this other screen here. Whoops. Yeah, so these are the 6 screens of the software. So you pop your video in, you say how long it is. It says 90 minutes. And then you title it, and then you do your video test and your audio test, and you keep clicking continue. And then at this point over here, the bottom left square, you can just play your video, and it's kind of like a little TV. So you can just play your VHS tape through the computer, and it'll just display on the screen there. And whenever you're ready, you can hit the record button. So in the meantime, it just acts like a little TV, and you can just check to see what's on the tape, and you can fast forward and rewind and put it at the right place to start recording. Does that make sense?
It does to me.
Cool. Yeah, there's definitely a place to do that in the software. You can preview your tape before pressing record. So yeah, those are the 2 kits. Oh yeah, it won't work, unfortunately, with Chromebooks or tablets and iPads. It needs an actual desktop computer. So if you just use an iPad, this particular system won't work. But later I will get to another little box that we're going to get that is a standalone unit that doesn't need a computer. So that might work. So the next one is the slide negative scanner. This is probably the most popular item in the collection. I'm looking at this question here. Does LPL have a capability to play 1/4 inch tape?
Yeah.
We don't have the capability to digitize audio tape, like reel-to-reel audio tape, but we are in the process of getting a reel-to-reel video digitizer. Let me enlarge my entire resolution of my computer real quick. I think it's just a little small.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could drag your Zoom screen over all your icons on your desktop. See how it's sort of
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, baby, that's good.
Okay, good. Let me know. I can make it bigger. Yeah, so we don't have quarter-inch audio tape digitization, but we are getting a video reel-to-reel digitization machine. So this is the slide and negative scanner. Like I said, it's probably the most popular. And you plug this into your home computer, again, with the USB jack, and it'll convert 35 millimeter slides. That's what I've seen it used for the most by far, is people in the studio. We also have a version of this available in the studio, so you can make an appointment and use it here if you want. And you can digitize your slides as still images, so your old photos. And it converts 35 millimeter, 126, 127, and 110 slides and negatives, as well as 8 millimeter and Super 8 film and microfiche. I haven't seen that done a lot. I think that's a little bit more tedious, because what this machine does is it doesn't digitize movies, it digitizes still images. So if you have old 8 millimeter movie film, it would be, you digitize image by image, like you would just be digitizing still images from that. So, but you can do that. Mostly I've seen this used, I think most people use it for digitizing slides. So there's a little plastic piece that slides in the side. You can kind of see it down there to the bottom right of the photo, and then you feed your slides through, and you press convert, okay, and slide another one through, convert, okay, convert, okay. And you don't actually need a computer to use this. It actually stores all of the images on a little card in the back of the machine. And then at the end, you can get it off of this machine in two ways. You can either plug the machine into your computer and use it kind of like, it turns the whole machine into a USB drive, like a flash drive, and you can drag all your files over to your computer. Or you could take the little card out of the back and put that into your computer and transfer the files over like that. So you can sit in front of the TV and just use this machine standalone. You don't need to have it plugged into your whole computer the whole time. It's just, you need to, at the end, transfer all the files over to a hard drive or your computer before you return it to the library.
So we have a question. What is this device called for digitizing slides and pictures? This one is just for the slides, right? And negatives. You'll talk about scanning pictures later, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this one is just called the slide and negative scanner.
Yeah, the brand is Wolverine, like Gracie said. If you click on this link, this is the website on our website for it. Oh, there's three of these. Yeah, it's called a Wolverine F2d Titan. Very, very epic name. And it digitizes film and slides, but not actual developed photographs.
So because most of us in the room are baby boomers and up, all those slides we have from our childhood, and maybe they were even black and white of our parents, are those 8 millimeter format?
I think 35 millimeters the
35,
most.
okay.
Like the one, do you see the photo there with that little slide that's popping out of the side? Like they're about 2 inches square, and they have the cardboard around them, and you put them in the old slide projectors. That's what I see a lot of.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And that's, yeah, it's really useful for that. It's a bit time consuming because you have to feed every slide through. It's definitely like working a jigsaw puzzle, or like you want to like be kind of, listen to some music or doing something else at the same time. But
Gracie's holding one up.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So there's different sizes of those. Like I said, this does 35 millimeter and also these other sizes listed. So you want to kind of check to see what kind of slides you have and see if it's compatible. There's one other slide scanner that they make that does medium format slides as well, but I haven't really seen a lot of really demand for that one yet, so we don't have that one. But I think this one does most basic camera slides and negatives.
Okay, so this one can only do stills from Super 8 film. Will we eventually be getting a machine that converts 8mm movies?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I've gotten quite a few questions about that over the years, so I'm
I'll
excited
bet.
about that. We were thinking we wanted to wait and just have it available in the library, but the longer we've kind of waited, the more we were just like, let's just check it out. I think it'll be fine. And that way people can do it at home.
Great.
We might have one, if it works out well, we might actually have one in the library as well. Okay, so next. So this is a audio cassette digitizer. So you can plug this into your computer like so, and you put your audio cassette in there and you press play and you play it into your computer. This one is there is a little bit more of a process to it because you have to download an audio software called Audacity, which is free. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into like all the details. We try to make it as simple as possible. We have that little manual for it, but you plug it in, you press play on the cassette, and then you download Audacity onto your computer and you install it, and then you set they call it a super USB cassette capture. You set that as your audio input source in the Audacity software, and then your tape will play into your computer and you can press record in your software and it'll record in real time. Very similar to the Elgato system. It's just a different software that you have to go download called Audacity to do that. We can also do that here at the library in the studio. If you're intimidated by downloading the software and getting that all going, you can also make an appointment to use Suites B and C. And well, Suite C actually is the one you really want. And we already have a tape deck set up in there, and you can digitize your cassettes that way too. Okay. This is a little handy recorder. It's called a Zoom. It's a different company, not Zoom video conference, but Zoom audio recorders. And so this is for recording like high quality audio. Like some people use it for field recording is what they call it, where you can go out in nature and capture sounds. Like you might capture a train going by or a stream or birds chirping, and then you can incorporate that into your music or into some kind of a project. You can also use it to record oral histories. I've seen some oral histories done. Well, we had an entire project where we were helping digitize World War II veterans' oral histories, and they were using a camcorder. And the toughest part was sometimes it was a little hard to hear people. So if you wanted to record someone with your phone, let's say, and they didn't speak very loudly or something like that, you could use this extra microphone to record the audio even more clearly. So that's one use for it. We've checked it out to people just record meetings, like maybe just put it on the desk to record the transcript of a meeting. So a lot of kind of random uses like that. It's just nice and light, and it can record for a long time. You can take it to a concert and record that. And it's just going to sound a little better than a smartphone because, yeah, if you've ever tried to record something like a concert with a smartphone, it sounds really distorted because that microphone isn't quite as high quality as these two stereo silver microphones right here.
I love this too because it's not at all intimidating. You know, my mom, who's 88 years old, just refuses to be on camera. She's got stories to tell, but she does not want to be on camera, and that would be a really nice way to do it. It's just because it's so small and unassuming.
That
high
is
quality.
that is really true because I was mentioning oral histories, like there needs to be a video and audio component, but you could just do the audio and you don't have to worry about your phone getting filled up, and you could just sit it on the table and it's just got a big record button there, as you see, and then the little volume, the input volume knob at the top. So there's a little manual that this one comes with. This one doesn't have a custom manual because it's pretty simple to use. So yeah, we really tried to focus on acquiring items that are easy to use because it's no fun to get bogged down in the tech.
You know, Audrey has a good question that I think has to do with what next. You know, so we digitize all this stuff. How do we pass it along? Her question is, when you download an oral history or whatever into your computer, can the audio then be put on a CD? And is that the best way to share it with someone else?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time now, how people share files is just 100% digitally in the computer. You could burn out a CD if you wanted to, and that would allow you to listen to it like in your car or on a home CD player. But if you wanted to share it, let's say let's keep with the example of oral history. If you recorded an oral history and wanted to like share it with your grandchildren, you could just attach that audio file to an email and email it to all of them. So that would be one way to share it. Sometimes the file might get a little big and you might have to use another service to share it with them, but that's the way I would suggest doing it.
And
yeah.
Chris made a comment that it can be converted to text as well. A lot of the word processing programs now have audio to text functions. You have to do some editing for sure, but you could convert it to text.
Yeah, I haven't actually, that is interesting. Yeah.
Chris also wants to know what the gigabyte capacity is of this.
So a lot of these little items use an SD card to store the media on. Now, I don't know if everyone's familiar with it.
Library patrons.
That's our library
This is
announcement going off.
to keep a mask over your nose and mouth.
I don't know if everyone's familiar with SD cards, but
thank you for helping us keep each other and our community safe.
I was going to see if I had one sitting around here. They're just a little square card that goes in a camera. That's how you mostly see them. So if you have like a digital camera, it probably has an SD card. Otherwise, they're not as popular as a flash drive. Most people use flash drives in a computer, so you may not have seen SD cards a ton, but almost all of these devices have an SD card in the back. So it's just like a little flash drive card. So when you get done recording your audio on this microphone, you can transfer it just like the previous one, just like the Wolverine. You can do it two different ways. You could plug the whole microphone into your computer while it has the SD card in it, and then it'll turn into like a flash drive of its own, and it'll pop up on your computer, and you can select it as a external drive and drag your files over. Or you can pop the little SD card out and put that into your computer and transfer them that way. So the capacity depends on how big the SD card is, and we sell them here at the library if you need them, and we sell them for really inexpensive. But these should come with an SD card in there. I'm not sure. I can't remember how big it is. Pretty big. Like you could probably record like 24 hours of audio on this. It also depends on what kind of format you're recording on. So if you record on a low quality MP3, it can record for a long time. But if you record with this a high quality wave, as it says right here, like CD quality, it can't record for as long. Like maybe it could record for 4 hours. And if you record with an MP3, maybe it could record for like 18 hours or something like that. Those are total ballparks, but it should be long enough to do whatever you're trying to do.
Shelley, would you unmute yourself and ask your question? I'm not sure what you mean by syncing the audio with a separate video.
I meant that if you were doing, for instance, an oral history or something, and you were using some sort of camera on somebody, but you wanted better quality audio, and you use that device, then syncing those two up into a single recording, how
Mhm.
difficult would that be, or is it just not worth fooling with?
It's not too difficult. It does take an extra step. Um, you know how in the beginning of movies when people have the big square and they go action and they hit that slapper. One of the reasons they do that is it creates a loud noise, and then later you can bring your video into a video editor software, and you'll see that spike on the waveform. And then you can take your audio file from this Zoom recorder and bring it into the software, and you'll see that spike. And so what you do is you just line up those two spikes, like you could clap your hands at the beginning of the video, and then line up those two spikes, and then you just mute the audio from your camcorder or your phone, and then use the audio, the newly synced audio from your Zoom recorder. That's basically how you do it, and then you have to re-render the video as a new file. So it takes a couple of steps, but it's not terribly difficult if you're doing something important that needs nice audio.
Okay, thanks.
All right, moving on. This is also kind of an oral history centered device. This is a little camera that is just really, really easy to use, and it sounds good. So this is I don't know if you can tell, it's not very big. It's probably 4 or 5 inches tall. And I really like the way this camera looks. It just sits, it can sit on a table where, like a phone, you have to have it you have to hold it the whole time or prop it up on a book and it might slide down, or you have to buy a tripod and stuff for it. This little camera, you can just sit it on a shelf or something like that, sit it on the counter, and you can just record video. And there's a little microphone in there that's similar to the previous one in this recorder. And so it's kind of marketed towards musicians, like you can record yourself playing drums or something like that, and it'll sound nice instead of all distorted. And it's just really easy to use. It's just the buttons that you see there. You can choose the resolution of your video. You can choose how wide your angle is. You can choose your how loud the audio is, and then press record. And this also uses an SD card, so it saves the video to an SD card.
And how many hours might you get with this device?
Again, it really depends, because you can actually record in 4K video, which you won't get a whole lot of time there, depending on your SD card. But if you record in 1080p, which is kind of the normal video resolution right now, depending on your SD card, you could get hours of recording. It all just depends on how big your card is. You can buy cards that are like 32 gigabytes are the ones that we sell here, I think. You can get 64 or 128, and if you buy those, you can record for a long time.
And do you think that technology, the SD card technology, will be obsolete?
Not anytime soon, because
Good.
every camera uses them.
Good.
And they're really fast. That's the difference. Like USB sticks that you put in your computer aren't quite as fast to react. Those SD cards, like even new 4K cameras that are like thousands of dollars that people use to shoot like amateur movies, those still use SD cards. So yeah, they've been around for a long time, and I don't think they're going anywhere soon. And then you can have your data on an SD card, and you can also buy just an SD card reader for your computer. That's a USB, basically just an adapter. If you don't have an SD card plug on your computer, you can just buy an adapter to plug it into your computer. It's like $12 or kind of inexpensive. So, or you can move it to a flash drive. Now here we're getting into our newer items. This was one of the last ones that we did this program about a year ago, and I think we covered most of the stuff that we covered so far. But this item is pretty new. We started checking this out a few months back, and it is a USB microphone. So we have two of these, and since the audio portion of the studio is closed right now. By the way, we're hoping to open that up sooner than later, especially if the numbers keep decreasing in Douglas County. But since the audio portion of the studio has been closed for the past months, we wanted to check this out because people ask like if we have any way to check out a microphone so they can record singing or a podcast at home or an audiobook. So this microphone, if you look down here, this is just a USB cable. It doesn't have a microphone cable, it just has a USB cable. So it plugs straight into your USB jack. So it would work just kind of like a webcam, or like you could use it for a Zoom call. You could plug it right into the USB of your laptop and then improve your audio for your Zoom call. So yeah, singing, rapping, podcasts, audiobooks. Yeah, and it has a little tabletop stand there, so it's just, you don't have to have a microphone stand for it or a microphone cable or an audio interface. All these other things that you used to need to plug a microphone into your computer, it just plugs straight in. And it should be plug and play, where you just like find the microphone as your input source in whatever software you're using. Now this one is very similar. It's just a different style mic. This mic's a little bit better for speaking than the previous one. The previous one was a little bit better for singing. So yeah, this is a high quality mic that can be used for podcasts and creating YouTube videos, and again, like using on Zoom or any video conference. This one actually can plug in also with a microphone cable. So it could plug in with a USB or a microphone cable. We actually use a microphone like this here at the library when people want to do, like I know Sharon was in a book club a couple of weeks ago where Shirley, we sat a microphone like this in the middle of the room, and that way everyone on the Zoom call could hear everyone around the room. There's actually a button on this microphone where you can pick up in front of the microphone, or pick up sounds in the front and the back, or pick up sounds all the way around. So in this book club, everyone was sitting in a big square, and we just turned the microphone to omnidirectional is what it's called, and it picks up in every direction. So then you could hear everyone in the meeting at the same time on the Zoom call. And we just plugged it into the computer with the USB. So we have two of those, and those are available for checkout as well. And obviously with our Sound and Vision studio, especially when we reopen, hopefully soon, you can do audio recording here too, if you make an appointment in the studio. Can you two think of any other applications that these mics might be useful for?
I don't know. I was just thinking we should start a rap group.
A choir.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly I think if for a special video, like say you did want to tell a story or share family stories, or for a special Zoom. I know just from doing Zooms for a year and a half that some people's built-in mics are a lot better than others. I can't think of an application right off the top of my head, but certainly if you want a high quality oral history or whatever, this would be another option for sure, and go directly into your own computer.
Yeah, I like that. That about like a special Zoom. Like, let's say that most of the time you just join a Zoom call and you're just listening, and maybe you make a comment here or there. But let's say you're gonna have all your you're gonna lead a Zoom call, like you're gonna lead a book club, and you're the leader, and you're gonna be talking a lot, and you want to sound good and look good, something like that.
Yeah.
So, this is Gary. A while ago, I started writing stories to my daughters. And short time ago, I got a microphone to record those stories, to say those stories. And I've only started, it's only been 2 days, but I think for everyone, it's important to both write your stories and to record and audio use your stories. So I'm trying to do that.
Well, Audrey has asked if we intend to resume our own oral history program soon. We were doing a lot of classes in how to tell your story, how to leave your legacy through stories, and interviewing people in the studio. This is pre-COVID, of course. And yes, Audrey, we have been discussing bringing that back and possibly just even doing it on Zoom until we can get fully back into the studio. And even if we could, sometimes it's just frankly more convenient for people to do it on Zoom. But so yeah, the answer is yes, we're definitely discussing it. It was popular. I agree with you, Gary.
And Kathy, then can we get a printout of your interview if you do it on Zoom?
Yes, we would record it and then send it to you digitally, just like we would from the studio. It's pretty much the same type of thing. We would do it in speaker view so that you would be the only one talking. You know, your face would fill up the screen. And then if I were to ask you a question, I would be on, but we could certainly edit that down easily to where it would be pretty seamless.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
Okay. On the list, Kathleen.
Got it. I already made a note of it.
So will we have time to talk about the new things coming, like the vinyl? I know
Sure.
people are interested in the vinyl to the digitizing our albums.
Sure, yeah. We'll get to that. I'll just share my screen again. Everyone see that mic again?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we're getting to those right now. So this is a USB webcam. This is it's pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory. If you don't have a webcam on your computer or your monitor, or yours is broken, you can check this out. And you can plug it into your USB jack and use this webcam. So this, yeah, should be useful if you have to do a video conference and you don't have a webcam. It'll work, and it should just be plug and play. Should be pretty easy. All these items check out for 2 weeks.
Oh, good to know.
Probably should have said that up front, but yeah, just a 2-week checkout. Here's at the beginning, we had a question about photos. This is the way to do photos. You can check out a flatbed scanner, or you could make an appointment to use the scanner in the Sound and Vision studio, or you could even use our large format scanner in our local history room. You could do that as well. But this scanner is just really easy to use. Again, you can scan standard and legal size documents as PDF files. So documents, it's not a big scanner, it just does standard and legal. It doesn't do like 11 by 17 or anything, but it'll scan the document as a PDF file. You plug it into your computer, you use a very simple software that you download, and it'll scan the PDF to your computer. For photos, it'll make JPEG files, but I think it makes other formats too, like PNG, like higher quality photo formats. But the coolest part that I like is if you put multiple photos on the glass of the scanner, it'll automatically separate them into multiple files. So it's pretty cool, pretty easy. If you have a little wallet photo, and then you have a 5x8, and then you have several random sizes of photos, you just make sure there's a space in between each photo, and then you scan them as a photo setting, and it'll just automatically split them up into different files. So you can go a lot faster like that. You can put like 4 or 5 on at a time, scan them, it makes 4 or 5 files. Take those off, scan 5 more, something like that.
And that would be if you were even slightly organized at the beginning, like you're going to scan all your grandkids' school pictures. Wouldn't it save in order so that you could do 1 year and, you know, all the grandkids in 1 year and then the next year, or one
Yeah.
grandkid and 8 years of school, something like
I
that?
think it just gives them a number, so kind
Yeah.
of be chronological in that folder in your computer. So with all this stuff, like the organization of your computer files is like more than half the battle, really.
That's another tech club topic. Oh boy.
Yeah, that would be a good topic. It's a little dry, but it's like not too hard to get them into your computer, but to know where they went and to really organize them, just like a file folder. You just have to keep it super organized. So this will just it'll just make a big list of photos or documents or whatever, and like you can check it out. Easy to use, or you can use it here in the studio. These are pretty basic, just a CD drive if you don't have one. A lot of computers don't come with one anymore, or it might be broken. And then we also have a floppy disk drive that you can check out if you have any of those floppy disks from like the 90s.
Now, that sort of pertains to another question. I'm getting a little behind on my questions, but well, Michelle wants to know, she says her 8mm tapes may be a little damaged and or moldy. Do you have any ideas for help with repair and cleaning? I know we addressed this during Downsizers Club, but I cannot recall what the answer was.
Yeah,
If there's a way to bring those back to life, or if there's a person in town that does it.
I can't say that I know personally how to do that. I could look up information about it online. That gives me the idea. It might be ideal to include something like that in our manual, just tips, but I don't know really any details on it. There's one place, a business in Lenexa that I've referred people to a few times called, I'm forgetting the name of it. So yeah, I could maybe put that in the chat in a minute. And you could call people like that and ask, or maybe have them do it. I haven't personally worked, and it's just, I didn't have an 8mm camcorder or anything, so I haven't actually worked with that film too much personally. So any information that I would have would be just reading it off the internet.
Okay. So Cap Gray wants to know if the library has a program or device that allows video and audio editing so that you can couple your video and add an audio stream.
Mm-hmm. That would just be usually called a video editor software.
Yeah.
So here in our studio, we in suites B and C, we have the full Adobe Creative Cloud available. And so Adobe, like Photoshop, Adobe InDesign, Adobe Illustrator, and Adobe's movie editing software is called Adobe Premiere. So we have Adobe Premiere, and that's like a fully professional movie editor software. We also have iMovie, which is Mac software, Mac specific, and we have Final Cut, which is the pro version of iMovie. So if you have iMovie on your MacBook, you could come into the studio and use Final Cut Pro, which is like the professional version of iMovie. So we kind of have those three different options available for video editing.
Okay. And to jump back to the question prior, Katie says Wolf's camera in Topeka can restore and clean videos and photos. So thanks, Katie, for that.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Yeah.
And and Shelley has a question pertaining to photo scanning, which was the device before this. She's asked, can you name photos or provide captions? Wouldn't that be in the way you save the file?
Yeah, it would just be in the computer's operating system. When you scan them in, they're just going to be called like image 0001 or something like that. And then you'd have to click on that file, like a slow double click or a right click, and rename the file, whatever you'd like. And that's where it does get kind of tricky, because sometimes you might want to say, like, if you have 10 pictures of your child's recital, you might want to say O1 recital, O2 recital, or maybe O1 recital and the date, then O2 recital and the date, and it'll help it stay in order in the folder. There's a lot of little tricks like that, but it's just naming the files in your computer.
Okay, we have an update on Wolf's Camera Shop. They are permanently closed.
Oh, no.
Topeka, yeah. A couple of people mentioned it, and I'm on Google, and they are in fact permanently closed. So sorry
Darn.
about that, guys. Real or
Darn.
real?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That was a cool place. Someone from Wolf came to one of our programs once just because they wanted to check it out and chat. Yeah, this is a reel-to-reel digitizer. So this is pretty exciting. It looks really cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we were just talking about, old reel-to-reel movies are degrading and becoming brittle and maybe moldy. And so, yeah, converting them to digital videos sooner than later is a good idea. And this machine will convert 8mm movie reels and Super 8 movie reels, and it converts it into MP4 digital videos. This is just like the other machines that we've talked about. It's standalone. It doesn't require a computer, but you'll just kind of need a computer at the end to transfer your files if you want to get them off the SD card. It's the same deal. There's an SD card that pops in the back of this machine. So you don't need a computer to use it. You'll either need an SD card or a computer to transfer it to a flash drive or transfer the files at the end. You can play back to a TV. It's got I think it's got like an HDMI output on the back. I can't quite remember, but I'll have to test it when we get it in, which I was wondering if anyone has any movie reels they'd like to have tested, because what happens with these is we get them in and then I don't have a movie to like actually do the manual with and to test it out.
Oh, yeah, I've got stuff.
Okay.
Okay, we've got a volunteer.
If you
I
can
have
just,
some too.
okay. And maybe just, Kathleen, if you could get in touch with Kathleen and let her know. And that way, when they come in, it should be soon. I think Kevin, our collections coordinator, I think he ordered these last week. So it should be coming in pretty soon, and then we can test them out. And I'll try to make a manual for this one too. That's what I hope it's not hard to use. I don't really think it's going to be hard to use once you get the film reels onto the machine. So I'll just need something to kind of test that out with, and we can make a little step-by-step instruction manual.
No problem, as long as you're employed by the library.
All right. Yeah, and other than that, I don't know too much about this machine because we don't have it yet, so I haven't really put it through its paces. But the 8mm and the Super 8 are definitely the two most common formats. So I think it should serve a lot of patrons well. All right. I'm looking at the questions here. Use a Canon scanner to scan paper and photos. I don't know the model number, but it scans about 30 pages per minute. That's cool.
Pat wants to know if photos are scanned at high enough resolution to print good, clear pictures. It would, I guess, depend on the original, wouldn't it?
The flatbed scanner, I don't remember exactly what the highest resolution of that scanner is. I actually kind of tested it back to back with our really expensive large format high resolution scanner here at the library, and it was pretty hard to tell the difference, honestly. I mean, it kind of depends on how big you're printing the photo. So if you are scanning in like a photo that's this big and then printing out a photo that's this big, it would look good. I mean, it might not look as amazing as taking it to like Walgreens or using a photo printing service, but if you're scanning in a photo this big and printing it out like this big to make a poster out of, that's when you'd probably want to use the high resolution scanner in our local history room. But just looking at the images on the computer, the little kind of cheaper flatbed scanner is pretty impressive. It does a good job. All right, I think we just have a couple more. This might be close to the end.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock,
Oh,
so.
Yeah.
So I threw out the issue of, I have a scanner. It runs about 30 pages a minute. And you have to determine what you want to do with the images. So for me, a lot of times it's, hey, I just want to archive, I want to save them on a CD. And in that case, 150, 300 DPI is sufficient. If I want to do quality photos, if I want to reprint, yeah, I'll scan it higher DPI. So you always have to think, what's the purpose? If it's just sending an image to your daughters, yeah, 150 DPI is good. If you want to make a quality print, that's different. So.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good. Yeah, well said.
Now, this one was interesting to me because it never even occurred to me that DVDs from around the world would be in different formats.
Yeah,
But of course,
this is something that Kevin just snagged and told me about. Yeah, it's just, so if you're like shopping online, you know, you might, especially if you're into kind of like more niche or obscure like things, like you like to watch like animation from Japan, or you want to watch like a BBC broadcast movie from Great Britain. DVDs from around the world, they don't all play in American DVD players. They have different regions around the world. So this is a DVD player that can play all DVDs from around the world.
This is a gentle reminder to keep a mask over your nose and mouth.
oh, there's the mask announcement.
Others. Thank you for helping us keep each other
and
our community.
It doesn't play Blu-rays, but it just plays standard DVDs from any country, basically. So a little bit niche, whatever. But it's kind of cool because if you have a DVD like that, I actually ended up with one somehow. I think it's from the library. It was in a bin, like a free bin or something. I brought it home. I was like, this won't even play. And there's not really much you can do if you don't have a regionless DVD player like this.
Cool.
Yeah. And let's see if I have any more slides. I think I'm close. Yep, that's actually I skipped over 2. These are awesome ones, actually. I'm not sure how I skipped those. Okay, so real quick, I know we got to finish up, but so this machine is another one that it's coming soon, and this is kind of like incorporates like multiple devices that I've already covered. It does all kinds of stuff, and it's a standalone unit that you don't need a computer for. So remember how we had the VHS kits at the beginning, but you had to use that Elgato software, and we were talking about Windows 7, like what if it doesn't work with that? Well, it's a box that just is standalone. So you can plug a VCR into this box, and then you plug a flash drive into the box, and you can digitize to your flash drive. Or you could plug a camcorder into this box and press play on your camcorder and digitize to an SD card or a flash drive. Or you could burn out a DVD. So it does or you could take a file from your flash drive and burn a DVD from it. Or you could take a file from your flash drive and put it on an SD card. So it kind of does kind of all the stuff. So it's going to be kind of exciting to get this because it combines a lot of these other units.
So when you say coming soon on the equipment we're talking about now, how soon is soon?
It'll need to be cataloged and processed, which can take a while. I know the library needs to find like a case for all of them, and that can take a while to figure out like what cases to order and like how to bundle them, and for me to make the manuals. But I would say like a month or two, probably.
So a good winter project for people.
Yeah, yeah.
You can start finding all your stuff now and get it organized.
hmm
Okay.
So I wish we had more time to spend on this one, but it basically does kind of all the stuff. Like it kind of does a lot of the things. And then we also have this vinyl digitization. So the same deal, you can plug in an SD card or a flash drive into this turntable record player and then play your record and record it as an MP3. So yeah, like I said, we don't have them yet, so I haven't really tested them out to have much more information, but and like with all this stuff, we also have a record player here in the studio. So if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, you can make an appointment. We can help you do that in the studio.
So just to recap, as of now, there's no reel-to-reel audio digitizer. Is that true? Just
Correct.
for audio? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
correct. That doesn't seem to be something that's very readily available, that is inexpensive. Like there's really like more expensive audio, like vintage audio reel-to-reel players, but it's not something I've seen or purchase yet that would make sense, but I'm looking. But we don't have anything in mind right now.
And what about digitizing 8mm videotapes? Did you mention that?
Like camcorders, like camcorder tapes, or reel-to-reel?
She didn't say.
So one thing I'd like to do is I'd love to like
Camcorder.
Yeah.
Camcorder. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to find, to like have like camcorders donated or find some used, or it would be really cool if the library had a few different formats of camcorder here, and then when people have their old high 8mm, there's several formats. VHS-C is one of them. There's like little mini DVDs that they use. There's like a lot of different kinds of old camcorders, and it's tough because you kind of have to have the camcorder to do it.
I have one.
Yeah, if you have your camcorder, then you can use Elgato that we talked about at the top. You could plug your camcorder into this and plug it into your computer, just like a VCR.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to establish a museum of old ways to record things.
I know, right? There's so many different formats over the years. So the VHS kit is good for camcorders. I really should have said that. That's a really, really good question. And then also this little yellow box, when we get that in the system, this will be great to plug your camcorder into. And like I said, ideally, I'd love to have the camcorders here at the library. That would be really cool, because some people don't have the old camcorder.
You can have mine after I get all mine digitized.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I'll give you mine too, Jim. Karen wants a little clarity on the SD cards. Are they micro or full-size versions of the SD cards that LPL sells?
I think the ones we sell are micro with the adapter. I think all these machines take the full-sized. So yeah, we sell micro with a full-size adapter.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks everyone. I know that's a lot of info, a lot of devices.
It was, and there was so much input and so many questions. It's obviously something everybody is really interested in doing. And we appreciate you so much, Jim, for offering this and for keeping new equipment on order. And I'm glad you got a volunteer to give you some films to, to test drive. So thanks a lot. And thanks to everybody for coming today. We kept you a little long, but I think it was worth it. And we hope you learned a lot and that you check out some equipment and get some projects going this winter. So that'll do it for tonight. And we will see you next month at Tech Club. Topic to be announced soon.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See y'all
Thank
later.
you.